My name is Patricia Idrugo. I'm the Family Resource Center Supervisor of San Mateo County. And I have here tonight my team members, Iris Wen, the training coordinator. And we also have Sonia Valenzuela in the Spanish channel tonight. So she's going to be assisting the Spanish speaking families, and she's saying hi. Hi, Sonia. We are recording this training, and we want to be able to capture the content of this important training in English and also in Spanish for our Spanish speaking families. Please be sure you select at the bottom of the Zoom menu, there's a globe icon that is for interpretation. So you can select there what language do you want to listen to this for this presentation. If you want to listen in English, please select English. And if you want to do it in Spanish, select the Spanish. I'm going to very quickly just kind of recap what the Family Resource Center does for the San Mateo County families and residents. We provide free support and services for families of children with special needs and or disabilities from ages 0 to 22. And we also assist the professionals and the providers who work with them. We offer parent-to-parent support. A lot of the FRC team members have kids with special needs and or disabilities, so we understand what it is to deal and navigate the system. We provide referral services. We also provide trainings and workshops to educate and be sure that all the families know their rights and also where to go when they have questions. We offer 2 support groups, one in English and one in Spanish. The English one is the Autism Support Group, and the Spanish is more inclusive and it has all disabilities, not just autism. So welcome for all the family that speak Spanish to join our support group that is usually the second Tuesday of every month from 10 to 11:30. And the Autism Support Group is the first Tuesday of every month from 6:30 to 8. We also provide resource binders, who are definitely a great resource for families to have, especially when they are starting the process of understanding the disabilities and the special needs of their children. I mean, they have an easy way to carry documents and also organize any kind of referrals or maybe insurance cards or maybe IEPs in a binder that they can move with them and then can be safely, have in their house, in the car. And definitely it's something that we do in English and also in Spanish. So if you have questions, you can let us know. And we also have a newsletter. And we send it monthly, the first day of the month, to everybody. We try our best to do a bilingual newsletter. And we send it usually in the mornings. And it's a great way to keep updated of our trainings, our support groups, and local resources. And without further ado, I'm going to let Kearney to start the presentation.
Great, thank you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's training on what is OCRA. Thank you all for being here. My name is Courtney Menges. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the client rights advocate for the Golden Gate Regional Center. If you have any questions throughout the training, you can add them to the chat or unmute at different times. I will try to monitor the chat and whether or not someone's unmuting, and I think the other host here will help with that. I may ask to hold off on some questions till the end for the sake of time, but we'll just play that by ear. We can go to the next slide. So I want to start off with a quick disclaimer and ask that because this is a public training, that you do not discuss any private or confidential information about yourself or a family member. There is no right of confidentiality here. We're also mandated reporters, and that means that we must report when we have a reasonable belief of adult or elderly abuse. So this training is not private consultation or legal advice, and there's no attorney-client privilege. We can go to the next slide. Also, I want to provide our contact information. Again, my name's Courtney Menges. My email is right there, as well as our office telephone number. You can ignore the person named Paul Zubitov. He's no longer with our office. you can call me at that main line number. All right, so the Office of Client Rights Advocacy, or the OCRA, is under the umbrella organization of Disability Rights California, or DRC. So DRC is the agency designated under federal law to protect and advocate for the rights of Californians with disabilities. OCRA is a program within the DRC, and it's funded through a contract with the California Department of Developmental Services, or DDS. OCRA was created in 1999 for the clients of the 21 regional centers to have an agency that provided advocacy for their troubles with the regional centers. The OCRA is not part of the regional center, and we do not work with the Golden Gate Regional Center. So prior to 1999, the regional centers used to be the judge, jury, and executioner, so to speak. And the attorneys that worked at the regional centers were expected to do the work that we now do. The government realized that they couldn't have their own attorneys acting as checks and balances to their own agency and decided they needed to contract this work out. And the DRC won that contract. And since then, we have been providing legal support for regional center consumers. Therefore, we are independent from the regional center, and you can trust that we're not going to share any confidential information with the regional center. Just going to pause for a second because I saw a comment pop up. Can residents in Santa Clara County use OCRA? Yes, because we are a statewide organization, and there are a client rights advocate and an assistant client rights advocate assigned to each regional center. So Santa Clara County would actually be in a different regional center than the one that I service, but there is another client rights advocate there. On the contact page, there was a general hotline number. If you want to contact that number, they can put you in touch with the right client rights advocate. So that regional center is SARC, the San Andreas Regional Center. They service Santa Clara County. Their client rights advocate is Stephanie Kroll Vieira. We can move on to the next slide. So OCRA advocates for clients with developmental disabilities who currently receive and those who are seeking to receive regional center services. So if you're looking to get regional center services and have been denied or just need help with the process, you can contact our office and we can help with eligibility concerns as well. You can go to the next slide. Let me know if I need to slow down or give more time on each slide. A client rights advocate is someone who is trained to advocate on behalf of a person with developmental disabilities. CRAs are not employees of the regional center, once again. However, there is one assigned to represent each regional center and provide free legal services. And there's also an assistant client rights advocate at every regional center. The assistant client rights advocate helps to manage the office in cases, answers the phone, returns calls, completes intakes, etc. And what we do as an office is provide free legal services to regional center consumers. We try to resolve legal problems related to a consumer's disability. So we provide information on legal rights, we review documents, we can help prepare you for an upcoming hearing or meeting. We can assist in preparing documents. We can provide legal trainings like this one. We can represent people at administrative hearings and investigate denial of rights. So in the areas of law that we can assist with, it includes regional center services as defined by the Lanterman Act. So this would be things like IPP development, which is IPP is the individualized personalized plan, and advice for what services are available, going to an IPP hearing, and advising about self-determination. We can also help with special education, such as IEP development, individualized educational plan, reviewing IEP plans, attending hearings, preparing for a hearing, or due process violations. We also can support with Social Security, which includes providing information for eligibility, reviewing notices, communicating with the Social Security office, responding to a notice of action, filing appeals, and going to meetings. We can help with Medi-Cal, which includes reviewing notices, answering notices, and sometimes going to hearings. We can help with discrimination, including writing letters, requesting reasonable accommodations for work or housing or other areas, or ADA accessibility. We can also provide alternatives to conservatorship, such as powers of attorney, medical directives, advanced healthcare directives, or other instruments that are available. We support with personal autonomy, which includes reviewing denial of rights situations, such as when someone's living in a facility or a group home and their rights have been denied because their belongings have been taken or something like that. We also help with community integration. So this includes making sure regional centers are compliant when placing consumers in facilities like group homes or enhanced behavioral support homes or any other facility, and ensuring that this is the least restrictive setting. We also help with IHSS, which is in-home supportive services. This is a public benefit to place help in consumers' home to avoid being institutionalized. We can help with eligibility, notices, reviewing hours, and sometimes going to hearings. And then lastly, we help with abuse and neglect. So like I said, we're mandated reporters for abused and neglected adults, and we can help when reporting when someone is in that situation. Yep. So if you're looking to get help from the Office of Client Rights Advocacy, you would first contact our office through a phone call or an email. When our office is contacted, we will obtain all the necessary information to assist you with your case and your issue during an intake call. So during that call, we're going to ask you, what is your problem? What are other questions necessary to determine how we can assist you? And then basic address information like address, birthdays, etc., that we need to make sure we're documenting client information correctly so we don't run into client conflicts. Yeah. And then the help that OCRA can offer may vary due to every case being different and not always resulting in direct representation. So OCRA's focus is to provide the public with the necessary tools to learn how to advocate for themselves. Our support may range from providing information and referrals, such as answering questions about what is the law and what is the timeline on a particular issue, to technical assistance, such as writing a letter on your behalf or filing documents on your behalf, all the way to direct representation, which includes attending a hearing or a meeting on your behalf. So it's going to vary depending on what your needs are and what the situation is. So how do we decide whether or not we're going to take a case? If we tell you that we're doing direct representation, that means that we will take your case and we will attend a meeting or a hearing on your behalf. And you would have to sign a direct representation agreement. That's it for that slide. We would decide whether or not we're going to take your case if it meets the following criteria. So for example, if the case has enough merit or if there are other available resources, and we're going to balance the availability of OCRA resources with whether or not there are other advocacy avenues available to you or the consumer. So if you have already an attorney, if you have other advocacy avenues available, that is not, we're not going to be able to take that case, or it may not be a priority. So we're going to balance the availability of our resources with how many resources you have available. And then usually we're going to do things step by step. So if you come to us before having applied for, let's say IHSS, we would ask that we would give you directions on how to apply for that, ask that you apply for it, and then contact us again, depending on whether or not you've been denied. And then we would open up another case on helping you if you were denied or you need more hours on appealing that decision. So every step of the way, we will likely open up a new case and help with just that step. And then if you run into another issue, we'll help with the next step. You can go to the next slide. So it's every caller a client. So no, OCRA only offers their services to regional center consumers. So family members, service providers, and advocates that call are not clients. We typically only provide them with general information and referrals. So even if you aren't sure if we can help or you don't think you're a client, you should still give us a call because we can provide that general information and we can reach out to the client if the caller, suggests that might be something the client would want. We can check with the client if they want our help. This applies to adult clients. So if your child or family member is an adult, we are going to need to check in with the client in order to get their permission to help advocate on their case, even if they're conserved. So that's important to note. If it's a child, if a minor, we will be able to speak with the parents in order to support with that case. The next slide. So the client's expressed interest is the focus of the client rights advocate. And that's to maintain their advocacy based on the client's expressed interest. So an expressed interest is an interest that the client actually communicates with us. And when there are challenges with communicating with the client, we will try our best to establish some avenue for communication, and we'll work to determine the best interest of the client based on what they've said, the situation, the family, the circle of support, care providers, and other people in the consumer's life. So sometimes, people wonder how we're able to speak with a client if they have communication challenges. And we do want to speak with the client if they're an adult. We just do our best, as everyone else does, when communicating with that person. We'll use a variety of communication methods and then kind of put that together with other things in the client's life, like what their family says and what the situation is, to try to determine what likely is their expressed interest. Gonna wait a couple of seconds. Maybe the interpreter needs to. Okay, so the confidentiality. So we maintain confidentiality at all times. The Office of Client Rights Advocacy can only share case information if the client gives written and or verbal consent. So we are going to likely ask for written consent if we need to reach out to another agency to talk about your case. We'll only use verbal consent in situations of like emergency or urgency where we don't have time to get written consent. But this means that we're not going to share any information with your family members or service providers, health providers, or other advocates without asking for your consent. We would definitely need to do this if we ever have to reach out to the regional center to get records, the Social Security office to get records, a representative payee to get records, things like this. You can go to the next slide. So as mentioned before, even if the client's representative made the initial call, the Office of Client Rights Advocacy is always going to represent the best interest of the client, even if there is a conflict of interest with the wishes of the family member who called, or the service provider, or the advocate that called. Again, the consumer is our client. So if that consumer expresses a certain interest, that will be our focus for advocacy. So again, this is how you can, oh, sorry, just skipped a slide in my brain. If the consumer has an issue we can't help with, such as family law, criminal law, housing, these issues are, and they're not related to the consumer's disability, we can refer to another agency or other attorneys, and we can also send along our self-help publications, or refer you to our Disability Rights of California website. Both of these contain a lot of useful information, and that's what we would do if you did call about one of the issues that we don't cover, which is pretty much the 3 issues I said, like family law, criminal law, housing. Sometimes we cover housing if it has to be directly linked to the disability, though. Yeah, so then again, here is how you can contact us. My office services the GGRC consumers, the Golden Gate Regional Center consumers. This is San Mateo, San Francisco, and Marin counties. If you're a consumer of another region, you can find that information on our website, or you can call the Northern or Southern California phone lines to get connected to the right office. So you can see that on the bottom left of the one on the left, the PowerPoint on the left. Those lines are general hotlines. So if you're either, oh, sorry, just gonna slow down. If you are either in the northern or southern regions, you can call that particular line and they can connect you to the right office. I think they probably have caught up by now. I'm opening it up to questions. If you have any questions about our office, the cases we take, how to get connected to our services, anything like that.
Yes,
provider and you're interested in that, you can also reach out to us.
great. So we are definitely at the end of our training tonight, and we're very, very happy that you were able to participate and spend some time with us during your very busy night, away from your family and doing other things. If there are any questions, we will send. We added in the chat our email and our phone numbers, so you can connect with us. And then also tomorrow, again, we will be sending an email to all participants with the PowerPoint presentation and any additional links and the SurveyMonkey links. So thank you so much for joining us and have a great night. And see you next week. Good night.